So you've just finished the Nightmare campaign, and you have access to Massacre now. Your builders are level 83. You want to jump in and start running some Massacre maps and get some gear. You try it once, and you fail miserably because the same strategies from Nightmare do not work in Massacre. This video is for you. This is a way to not only beat Deeper well, but make it easy, and to do it with a level 70 squire. That's right, level 70. That's the first time I did it. My squire was only level 70. You'll see that a block squire is pretty OP with the right pet. Now, this is kind of a highlight video for this pet too, because this pet is the Steam Robot. Now, you get the Steam Robot from beating Wave 14 in the Lava Mines. The Lava Mines, that's the third map. So very easy to get. Now, this is going to be the best DPS that you can get that easily. There is a better DPS pet. There's two, I think, that are better, quote unquote. The Monkey King is probably better. I know he's better single target. You get him from Endless Spires, which is a much more difficult map than the Lava Mines. And then the best DPS pet is going to be the Dragon from the Summit, Wave 14, Hardcore Survival, Nightmare. Now, you know, those pets are going to be better, but they're going to be way harder to get. And this guy, he's pretty good. So watch what happens. He jumps in, and he can hold down an entire wave. He's hitting all three dummies. He's attacking all three, and that's definitely enough to hold down a lane by itself and deal lots and lots of damage. He will melt some ogres for you, much easier than your DPS hero. If you try to jump in like you were in Nightmare with like a DPS Huntress or something, you're in for a rude awakening. That doesn't really work as well in Massacre, but pets get a huge buff. They deal almost double the damage, I think double the damage in Massacre. So I'm just going to show you what I'm using. Here's my hero deck. This is what I'm running with. Even if your builders are level 83, that's fine. And then he was level 70. Beef there, my attack/block squire. He's level 72 because I've been doing this so much that I've actually leveled him a couple levels. So let me just show you the gear. Now, he's in legendaries. He's only level 70. He's using level 70 gear. I have a decent stat stick weapon here, and I went all in on attack. You want to go in all in on attack if you're relying on a pet to deal your damage, because the pet scales from the attack stat. So I'll just show you what he's got. 1214 attack and very low vitality, but that's not going to be a problem because we won't be taking very much damage. And then our Steam Robot here is level 80. Now, the very first time that I did this and discovered that you could do this is I just ran in with the first Steam Robot I ever got, and it only had 46 max levels, so it was much worse in terms of stats. Run that Lava Mine map a few times, get one with 70 or 80 upgrades, you'll be just fine. Just make sure when you level the Steam Robot that you max out its attack speed first, but then the rest all into melee damage, of course. And, you know, this legendary gear, I just prioritized attack. It'd be nice if I had more vitality, but it's not going to be necessary. For the rest of my builders, what I did was I took a piece off of each of them, and I nerfed their stats a little bit just to see how low I could get them and show that you can do this right out of the Nightmare campaign with like some reasonable stats. Maybe if you farmed a survival map or two and you got some decent gear, you'll definitely have stats as good as this. I'm only running with 1,059 Fortify here, 778 power. So those are pretty low and pretty reasonable to expect someone to have if they're just starting out in Massacre. And the monk here, that I'm going to be relying on traps, auras, and some walls, not towers. Towers aren't really as good in Massacre for a few reasons, but traps and auras do much better. So I've got 952 Fortify, 756 power, and 988 range on my Aura Monk. And my Waller, I'm going in with 1390 Fortify, so pretty reasonable, pretty obtainable stats for someone who's done a little bit of farming in Nightmare Survival, but is looking to take their first few steps into Massacre. Now, not only can you beat Deeper Well Massacre with this Steam Robot, you can also beat Ancient Mines pretty easily too, and you can actually farm Massacre Hardcore Deeper Well for gear. It's that easy, it's that reliable. So with that, I'll jump into the map and I'll show you the build. All right, here we are in Deeper Well. Now this build's pretty simple. I'm going to wall off the top. Get rid of this tooltip. Hold E to get rid of the tooltip. I'm going to use this little black line on the bottom, on the ground. as the reference to line up my walls. 2 here. This is just wave 1. We'll have plenty of time to do this. 2 here. And since I have the mana and the time, I'm going to lay down my first gas trap. You'll definitely want gas traps down on both lanes, covering all 4 lanes, really, to stop those Sharkin from coming down and charging in, pushing your walls back. I haven't really quite mastered the placement of this. Sometimes they get in and nudge a wall back a little, but it hasn't really been an issue. So I'm going to switch back to my Squire, and immediately you'll see the kind of damage that this little steam robot can do. Of course, he one-shots the little guys. When I first tried this, the very first time I tried this map, Massacre Hardcore, yeah, on Hardcore, I came in on my Huntress, used to just mowing everything down, coming from Nightmare, and was utterly surprised by how little damage I did and how long it took to kill the first ogre. Now, this pet, he's going to do a pretty good job, and just watch what happens here. If I just stand here and block, he'll hit me, but look how little damage I take. So you can just stand here and do this, take almost no damage, and essentially you're just a conduit for the pet to run around and kill everything for you, which is why Deeper Well is perfect for this. You know, on bigger maps where it's hard to cover the whole map yourself, you have a much rougher time. Deeper Well is very easy to do this on. So I'm going to switch over to my Aura Monk. I'm just going to drop stacks, Aura stacks here, pretty typical. I'm going to do a slow, a lightning, and a strength drain. I'm going to do 1 stack on each lane. You want that. Definitely the strength drain. It's gonna help your walls take less damage, but it's also gonna grant elemental strip off of everything. That way, you can do some elemental damage with your lightning auras there. And I'm also gonna throw down my other gas trap on this lane if I have some time. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so we have some DU left. You'll see how I flesh out the build, but basically I'm stacking elemental damage, and there's a reason I'm doing that. I have plenty of physical damage on my pet. What I don't have is elemental damage, and that's what I need to leverage against when these sirens come out. See, this is the first siren we're killing. She's got a fire element. That's easy. We can take her out, no problem. You run into issues when it's a physical elemental, like so it's a physical damage resistance. That's when you have problems, because what the sirens do essentially is they grant a 10x resistance to whatever their element is. So you do 1/10 of the damage if you're attacking with, say, lightning damage, and she has a lightning aura, lightning elemental resistance, you do 1/10 of the damage. That's not really an issue for us until it's physical. That's when it becomes a problem, because we're dealing physical damage. So we want to stack the deck as far in our favor as we can by stacking elemental damage, essentially, in our lanes. So I've got some lightning damage in here now. I'm going to switch over to my Huntress, and I am going to lay down some Inferno traps. I'm going to lay them down pretty close to the lane. I want these to trigger on the walls. I want these to keep triggering if ogres are sitting on the walls and they have physical resistance. That way, at least they're taking some fire damage. Now, we'll have some DU left. It's up to you what you want to do with that DU. I could lay down some explosive traps on each lane. What I'll do on the next build phase is, I'll kind of go out of the loop with what I set up initially in terms of my hero deck. And I'm going to throw down a lightning tower right here. Totally optional. I'm just trying to get as much elemental damage as possible. You'll see what I'm talking about with the physical damage resistance here. Now, this siren is going to take very little damage from my pet. I actually don't even want to bother. I could kill this siren. In fact, I have done that. I've done this before where I've just sat here and killed the siren and taken this long. Now, fortunately, there's not an ogre over here yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this ogre off. I'm going to kill him while he's over here before he gets the benefit of that physical resistance, just so it doesn't take me a year to kill that ogre. Because what can happen is, you'll kill the ogre eventually if it has a physical damage resistance from this siren, but now she'll go away, and I'm only left to deal with a couple of monsters over here, a couple of enemies that don't really have that much HP to begin with, so it's not a big deal to kill them, even if they have a physical resistance, and my traps will do plenty of elemental damage to take them out on their own. You only run into problems when, and I say problems, relatively speaking, it's a problem because it'll take forever. You only run into a problem if an ogre has physical resistance, because then you just have to stand here forever, and eventually it'll die. I'm hoping we don't run into that with this run, but it could very well happen. The dream, the ideal run, is that for waves 4 and 5, we get 2 sirens, and you always get 2, but we'll get 2 that are elemental, and not physical. So what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this. In fact, I only recently started doing this. I'm just going to swap over to my apprentice, and I'm going to drop a lightning tower here. Now what that's going to do is it's just going to add some more elemental damage to the map, and I'm assuming that at some point I'll get some bad luck, and I'll have to deal with physical resistance on an ogre, and that's all that's for. It's just going to help me out with that. I'll throw it up on it. Why not? It'll probably get sucked up by a djinn anyway. In fact, that's kind of the battle with this map, is you're constantly having to worry about what the djinns are going to take away. Now this is terrible RNG right here. I have 2 physical resistance sirens. I think that's the first time I've had to deal with this, so that'll be fun for you to see. But it's not really going to provide me with a good opportunity to get some better gear here. I'm not going to bother killing them. Now, one thing I've experimented with is running an elemental damage monk in this kind of map, in this scenario, and that's something you can do, but it doesn't really work that well if it's only level 70 and you don't have great stats. So this whole lane has a physical damage resistance now because those 2 sirens granted it for them. But fortunately, I have my lightning tower. I've got some lightning traps, or an inferno trap, and a lightning aura over there. You can see the djinn got my lightning aura on this side, but I'm not that concerned about it because these guys don't have the damage resistance, so I can just come over and kill them myself. I'm not really concerned about that. This shark will die. Sometimes you have to reset the pet yourself, like run away and come in, and he'll do some damage. So I'll just take this side out myself. And I'll throw an upgrade on this wall and that wall just to make sure they're good. Repair that while I can. Now I'm kind of using the ogres to just sort of stall the wave out and get some stuff done over here, which you can totally do. I'll have to swap to my aura monk and replace this lightning aura because it got taken by the djinn. That becomes the problem. You want to kill the sirens, you want to prioritize the sirens, but at the same time the djinns are going to come out and they're going to start stealing your stuff. So what we can do over here now is just contribute. But essentially, this is going to be mostly the elemental damage from my Inferno Trap that's still going, and that's why I have it so close to the wall, because when this sort of thing happens, I want the Ogress to continue to trigger that so that it continues to go off, and I get the assistance from the trap as well as my Lightning Tower over here and my Lightning Aura to help take these guys out, because I'm doing very little damage with my pet. Now, if I really wanted to speed this up, I guess I could drop a Harpoon down, and it would do some more damage too. But this isn't going to take that long. That's exactly why we're stacking each lane with elemental damage. Just in case this happens. In this case, I got unlucky. I've never had 2 physical resistance sirens come down the same lane like that before. Usually it's one physical and 1 elemental or something. It's very unusual that you would get 2 physical. In that case, it's just kind of bad luck, and you don't really get anything out of that. Fortunately, it was wave 4, not wave 5. Wave 5 is where you get the best loot and the best sirens from anyway, so we'll see what we get. Now, I do have a priority here in that I want to swap over to my Elemental Monk. Just put that Lightning Aura back down. Alright, everything else looks pretty good. Strength Drain needs a little love. Everything else looks fine. So we're ready. Alright. Hopefully we get some decent luck. That's not a bad shield. I'll take that. We'll see how it goes. As soon as I see the first siren come out, I'm going to run right at it. Alright. Okay, this is a good wave 5 here. We have a lightning siren and a poison siren. So that's actually ideal. Just want my pet to get in here and actually start doing some damage. Now, ideally, you get in there right away and start doing damage to one. That way you can kill it and get the other before it runs. Unfortunately, I didn't in this case. My pet kind of derped out. I didn't target properly. But in an ideal run, you get both. And I'll show you the stuff. She just dropped a bunch of gear, and I'll show you what she dropped. Now, at this point, it's just a matter of finishing the map. Shark got through. Yeah, he charged through and got one of my walls out of there. Not a big deal. It's one of the benefits of being on a squire is you can just drop a wall. As soon as this web wears off. Oh my god. One of these days I'll get a wall down. Fortunately, squires have a lot of fortitude. So I'm going to sell that, drop another wall. And now it's just a matter of finishing the map. Now this will go smoother if you have better stats. And it's always, you always have to be on your toes a little bit, especially when you're running in and you're kind of at the cusp of a new tier. And you know, things can happen. Like we've got 3 ogres in this wave, in this one lane. Could have overpowered this wall if I wasn't paying attention. What's left? Something is... Oh, there we go. The shark is stalled out. So I'll just kill him. There we go. And that's it. So, you know, there's the Sirens Drops here. There you go. There's a trans weapon. Another... Is that the same one? Just want to see what we've got here. That's 2 trans weapons. 131 ups on a pair of mythic boots. I mean, look at those rolls. That's a great item for a DPS character. In fact, I will take that. This is the kind of stuff that you can get. And there you go. All 4 builder stats on trans pair of boots. I mean, this is probably the easiest, quickest way to just snag a few really good pieces. If I had been a little quicker and a little luckier, there you go. Another great item for a builder. 4 builder stats, 139 upgrades, trans guard boots. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you can get quickly and pretty easily with some pretty low stats. Here's another item. You know, if you don't care about range on a builder or you want to use this for a DPS character, it's got a lot of boost, a lot of vitality, a lot of attack, and 143 ups. I mean, these are good items. And if I had gotten that other Siren, which is totally reasonable and realistic to expect to get both, you'd be there you go. I mean, you can't argue with the results here. This is really good gear for just coming into Massacre. All 4 builder stats on trans items. That's what you want to see that. That's good stuff. So get in and get some Massacre loot. You know, just to run it again and show you a better example, maybe if I can get a run where I have there's another good weapon. Just to show you another one, I'll cut to another like wave 5 run of this map where I actually get both Sirens. All right, here I am at the end of another run. I had 2 Sirens this time come up the left side, both elemental. One was a fire and one was a lightning, I think. But here's the gear that dropped. Just want to see what I got. That's okay. Not bad. Not a bad piece for a DPS character or maybe a boost monk. That's a decent piece for a builder right there. All 4 tower stats. Trans 137 ups. Let's see, what else did I get? That's not from a Siren. Here's the other one. That up here. Let's see now. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, all 4 builder stats, over 100 for each stat, 133 ups, level 83, so you could use it right away, too. So definitely want to take that. What else did we get up here? Trans weapon. That's a good helmet. All 4 builder stats, 130 ups, level 83. Can use that right away, too. Let's see, what else did I get here? A headpiece. Got some vitality and attack on it, and some... skill, so you know, a couple uses for that. Definitely a DPS character, maybe. Some boots here. That's another good piece. All 4 builder stats again, and vitality and attack. 132 upgrades, trans gear. So that's good. I mean, this is good stuff. This is definitely what you want to see. There's a pair of gloves here. 140 ups. That's 134 vitality, 122 attack. That's pretty good with some skill there. That's pretty good for a DPS character. So, as you can see, these are some decent pieces. Like, this is what you can expect if you're farming in Deeper Well, Massacre Hardcore. And just to reiterate, you know, this is an easy in. This is a low barrier to entry. I'm running on a low-level squire here. He's only level 72, and I'm running with Steam Robot. So... this is a pet that you can get from the lava mines, which is only the 3rd map. So you get up to the 3rd map in Nightmare, you have access to this pet. Now, it's a pretty easy map to begin with, but given that it's in the first act, it's one of the easiest, and I'll show a build for it in my next video if you want to see that. But you only need to get to wave 14 and beat it to get this pet. So it's a lot easier to get the Steam Robot than it is the Dragon from the Summit Survival. But that's what you can expect to see. One thing I did different for this run is I used Thunder Spike traps. over here instead of the electric tower. And one more thing that I did want to note here is that say you're farming for a specific class of weapon, and you get this chest at the end. Now I'm on my monk. There's a better chance of getting monk weapons. Yeah, so a monk weapon just popped out. 154 ups on a mythic weapon. See, like that, all 4 tower stats, that's a pretty good stat stick, too, if you wanted to use like a that kind of weapon for your monk builder. That's a pretty good monk builder weapon. I can go into any stat that I want. It's just something else to keep in mind. You get some pretty good stuff out of the chest at the end as well. Probably not very good gear, but the weapons seem to be pretty good consistently coming out of the end of round chest. So that's it. I just wanted to highlight an easy way to start farming Massacre Hardcore gear with an easily obtainable pet and low stats with a low grade pet. Very easy to get. So jump into Massacre, start farming some gear. You know, the better farm for gear, from what I understand, consistently at least, is Promenade Nightmare Hardcore Survival. It's a survival map. I don't know. I mean, I like running survival for farming, but it can be boring. So this is quick runs, 7 or 8 minute runs. You can get in, you can get out. I just got 4 or 5 good pieces. I actually had something go into my inventory from the last run that I think was good. I just picked up this stuff. So yeah, this went into my inventory. This one, and this piece of gear. See, that's not bad either. So, and that was from wave 4. So pretty good still. You know, this is definitely better gear than you'll have fresh out of the campaign from Nightmare. So come into Massacre Hardcore Deeper Well, farm up some gear with an easily obtainable Steam robot. Let me know how it goes for you, and thanks so much for watching.